Hello? Oh,
Morgan?
Hello.
Oh,
there we go.
okay.
Okay.
You good? All right. We're live already. Just 'cause we just have to- It's okay.
What's that? Okay.
We're live, yeah, just because of you know,
Yeah.
more extra time. All right. Are we all ready? Oh, Patty, your question is, how trustworthy are sites like Zillow?
Oh, you know what? I was walking in here thinking about Zillow would be a good thing to talk to about.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are the stuff you want to?
Oh, I mean,
over?
general stuff like forecast for 2019, affordability, what's happening
Okay.
right now. The market's shifting, it really is.
Yeah, it
People are
seems.
seeing it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can ask questions about that too.
I've
Okay.
been seeing it for a couple of years, but it's really shifting.
Good.
All right.
Okay, great.
So we're all set?
I think
All right.
so.
Good. All right. Let's do this.
Yes.
All right. And away we go. Well, welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohen of Pacific Union Realty. Can I still say that?
Yes.
For now. Okay. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate giving away during this show. That certificate is not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Check them out. Let's see. Today's trivia theme is random trivia. Now, Patty, let's go right to you because there's a lot of stuff going on in real estate.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, the fall fall is sort of our second selling season, but not in a dramatic way like the spring. And spring, again, this past year was really amazing. Prices went up, multiple offers. And at the same time, for a couple of years, I've been seeing a shift. And now the public is seeing it. And they see it in the realm of, there's the industry, there's what's really going on, there's the buyers and what they see, and then there's the public. And when the public sees it, it's like almost like obvious.
Too late.
Yeah, because what the public is seeing is a lot more for sale signs, price reductions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, even I think it was in the paper about rents going down too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Right. I see it.
But it's still high. I mean, going down is good. Prices
Yeah.
going down, at least for the buyers. I think it's days on market though are still, how are they?
Days on market is going up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the local newspaper, the IJ, publishes every Wednesday what's going on for the prior week, and I am the person that literally feeds them that data.
Oh, okay.
So I look at it, and I'm seeing year over year. Sometimes it's a little bit less, sometimes more days. Definitely more days on market. What might have been like 30 is now 45.
Okay.
Yeah. And the interesting thing too is that I'm reading something here is prices are predicted to go up 3.1% in 2009.
That's actually healthy.
Okay.
And then down a 3.3% in
That's
2020.
not healthy.
Yeah. So even, but this is compared to 27.5% in 2013. So that was the beginning of it.
Wow.
And we've been riding this wave ever since. So I think like 3 years ago, 15 is when things started going, oh, it's not going up as much as it had, which is, again, back to healthy.
You know, it's interesting. My daughter literally today just sent me an email or a text with an article that talked about FICO and how they may be changing.
I saw that.
You saw that? And so I don't know if that's necessarily going to make it easier to buy a house, or let's put it this way: is it going to be easier to get an higher FICO score? Oh, because it has something to do with the way that you manage your money. But potentially, couldn't that also bring it down? Let's say you had a high FICO score, but if they look at that analytic and it's different than what they're expecting, it could bring your score down.
Right, and then you have to look at this. So if rates do go up to 5.2% next year as predicted, and it's harder to get a loan, so that means if that makes the bridge for me paying a higher interest rate, a little premium because my rate is not that good, and it might have been the same, there goes affordability again.
Right.
Because rates are supposed to go up to 5.2, which would affect affordability. And right now, 25% of affordability, which is actually, it was 10% last year. And that's a really big barometer.
Right.
But so if rates go up, and it's tricky. And would that mean that they're even going to pay even a higher rate if that FICO changes? And I don't really know much about that.
I mean, it almost sounded I didn't get a chance to read the entire article, but it seemed like the first part of it seemed to state that FICO scores would be increasing
Yeah.
because of the fact that they would look at, how you manage your money.
Okay. Are they taking out, or maybe they've done this already, like bankruptcies from major health expenses?
Unfortunately, I couldn't read the entire article. I can't remember why. It had something to do with the way that they split
Too
the
many
article.
words, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Too many words, not enough time.
That's it. It's anything over 25 words. I go, nope, too long.
That's even less than a tweet. Isn't it? Oh no, that's characters. Sorry.
That's right.
So, but all of this just ultimately means that affordability goes down. The percentage of people, then the market's gonna have to reflect that in some prices coming down a little bit. So the market always sort of finds its equilibrium.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a good thing now that things have slowed down, and it's too bad that rates have gone up, because that does eliminate some of the buyers. But then ultimately that'll be reflected in the pricing too.
Exactly. So it's tricky.
Yeah, I guess someone should do a matrix. Norm, I'll put you on that. Do a matrix and figure out, if interest rates go up 0.25%, what can you afford less? But it depends on the dollar amount that you're borrowing.
Right. I'm sure there's tons of those online.
Exactly.
Oh man, I wanted you to do it. You're a smart guy. Okay. First trivia question is, what year did Hawaii become a U.S. state? That's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. And if you remember, they're actually state number 50, because Alaska was number 49. Always remember that. All right, call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you're going to win that tanning certificate, which is worth over $100. And by the way, Christmas is just right around the corner, a couple of months from now. That'd be a nice gift to give to somebody. Hey, here's a $100 certificate. Okay. So again, here's our trivia question: is what year did Hawaii become a U.S. state? Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing. We'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, that was a fast little segment. I love this.
6 minutes.
So we'll keep. Let's keep talking about the market, if we could.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting stuff.
There was another article too on that same affordability thing. What is it?
Oh, and then here's something else. 2/3 of Bay Area out-migrants earn less than 6 figures. Now, that's not what I was. Where was it? 28% of home buyers are projected to leave the county that they reside in. 28%.
Wow, that's a
lot.
That's a lot. And where are they going to go? Does it say? Because they could be. I mean, they could be going from San Francisco to Sonoma.
No, they're leaving the state.
Leaving the state. That's
what it's about. Thing. Yeah. And
I guess we got to hope for those caravans to come in faster then.
Yeah, and then that also changes the market, because what goes first? Well, sometimes the upper end goes first, like 4 million. But if the bottom end, the peanut butter and jelly like feeder business goes first, so you're trying to sell your house and you're at the bottom, and you're going to theoretically move up to the next level. You have a $700,000 house and you're going to go to like $1.2 million. No one buys your house, then there goes the whole move up market. Not all of it.
Okay, that'll be good to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Nam Phan and Patty Cohen. In fact, when I do the sports show, Bruce McGowan, my co-host, tells me, you're not supposed to say, don't touch that dial, we'll be right back. We're not going anywhere.
That's right.
That's right. We didn't go anywhere. The audience, you also didn't go anywhere. I know you went to go make a sandwich, and now you're back after the commercial break. Okay. Trivia question number 1 was, what year did Hawaii become a U.S. state?
1958. I was going to say 52, but I just don't
1959.
59. Awesome.
You're close. You're all in the 50s.
Yeah. In
the 50s. Okay, let's continue on with what's going on in real estate.
Well, Nam and I were just talking about what's going to happen if 28%, the statistic is 28% of California would-be homebuyers plan on leaving the county that they're in
and leaving
the
next
state. Year. And I think it's also leaving the state. I was just reading it, and I think
because if all you're doing is moving around within the counties of California, there's no
going to Modesto or Ukiah.
There's no net loss. But
I mean, there's a lot of buyers who move from like the major metro area of San Francisco south or maybe parts of the East Bay to the East Contra
Turlock
Costa,
or something,
or
yeah.
well, that's still within county, or
Yeah.
Solano County from Marin or San Francisco to Solano. But 28% leaving their county that they
Yeah,
currently
I would
live
be
in.
surprised if it's 28% leaving the state.
Yeah, that would be high.
Yeah, it may not be because
That
yeah.
seems a little high.
But still, that's a big number.
And in the
Yeah.
Bay Area
Mhm.
and Southern California, that number ticks up to 35%.
Wow. Okay.
So, and I was just reading that.
And it has nothing to do with politics? I mean,
No,
it's just strictly
It's
price,
affordability.
affordability.
affordability. And 2/3 of Bay Area out migrants earn less than six figures. So they're
Okay.
forced out.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's the question is, this 28% number, is it 28% of, like how is it, most of the people are multimillionaires, or most of them are way under? They could be
Yeah.
way under.
Way under. So the scary thing, though, is that you're talking about probably teachers
Yeah.
or service
Oh,
people
yeah.
who are leaving, and that creates a hole
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, because
marketplace.
Texas is still pretty cheap, for the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we need to hold on to our
Houston.
teachers. We need to hold on to our lower
Firemen,
rate.
and nurses, and
yeah.
well, nurses, they're doing great.
Yeah.
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 Well,
That's
the
crazy.
firemen too.
Yeah.
They make bank.
So if those people are leaving, you were mentioning something about some of those entry-level homes that current homeowners who own them,
Yeah.
but want to sell them. There might be a shortage of buyers in that space, and then therefore those sellers can't necessarily move up.
Exactly.
Got to be able to sell first.
Exactly. So if 2/3 of them are making less than six figures, they would have been the feeder market to
Mhm.
start the wheels turning in the move up.
Yeah.
And I'm finding more and more in under $1 million price ranges, investors,
Mhm.
out of state people buying it, like say it's a condo, out of state people buying a second home,
Right.
like all that, because really, honestly,
most
like,
of the condos are going to be under $1 million, most.
yeah, most.
Yeah.
And, that's because nothing else is under $1 million. So typically
Yeah.
under $1 million should be something, but it's almost like they've already been priced out. If you think about what it takes to the income and everything to buy like a $700,000 house, like that's kind of normal in Nevada right now, but in
Yeah.
Southern Marin and Central Marin,
Oh, no.
You'll
$1.2
never-
million, $1.3 million, you
Sure.
can't do it.
And
Right.
so you have to have a big down payment, and making those ability to repay, especially if interest rates do go up. I mean, they better be really careful with those interest rates.
Yeah.
Right. So what happens in this? I mean, we're in between. We're sort of in a transitional, continuing to be in a transitional market. So if I'm a buyer, and Edward's a seller, and we both approach you and say, "What should we do in this market?" I mean, how do you counsel a buyer to say, this is your opportunity, or to the seller? This is
Well,
your
I mean,
opportunity.
I think it's a really good time to sell. I
Mhm.
really do, because people are kind of always waited out.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? I mean, if it's going to go up, 3.1%
Is that worth waiting for?
2019 and go down 3.3,
Right.
Yeah.
you wait 2 years, you'll be
Okay,
exactly
so if
where
they
you
sell,
are.
they have to find someplace to buy.
Right. Well, a lot of the Bay Area, particularly bedroom communities like, Walnut Creek in Marin County,
Yeah.
San Mateo, there are people that have been rattling around that house for 40, 50 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the old, where do you go?
Mhm.
And then there's no reciprocation with, that was
A
taken
nursing
away.
home.
A nursing home. And
My daughter's already picked mine out. She picked out my wheelchair too, that rascal.
she didn't. No.
Dad,
Wheels
come
made
on.
of wheels made of wood.
Yeah, exactly.
That's horrible.
Come on, Dad, you live long enough.
Yeah, exactly.
She loves me.
Time to get that inheritance. Move on.
Yeah. It reminds me of the story that was kind of teasing when we had someone on who was telling us about solar. And I said, well, I've got solar on the house. And the thing is, the panels go really close to the edge where the gutter is, and on the second story, and then we're on a little bit of a hill. So, I mean, it's a far drop from there down to the ground, right? Well, someone's got to clean those panels. So what better way than to have my daughter? She was only 7 years old. She's
Wow,
fine.
nice.
And I said, well, listen, sweetie, Daddy will hold your ankles.
Oh my
This is what you need to
God.
do. And remember, Daddy loves you. He won't drop you. My wife wasn't too happy about
No,
Yeah,
not
your
at all.
daughter is listening right now and saying, I'm going to have you sitting in the wheelchair cleaning
that.
those things on the roof.
Exactly.
The brakes work just
The
fine,
brakes-
Daddy.
Yeah. That explains why she's got the place picked out, the casket picked out, everything picked out. She's
That's
like
it.
waiting.
You
But
know,
speaking of solar, interesting,
Yeah.
like talk about the best of investment, right? My other half said to me, my friend has these solar panels that are like 75% off. And I was like, so we weren't going to get solar.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, and he started getting excited about it, what's possible.
Yeah.
So I had two people come in and look at solar. I got a bid for $46,000 and for $35,000. And he just started getting into this. Like, what would it take for the labor to do it, to get these panels? Why are the panels? Are they good panels? He's got it down to $6,000.
Really?
And let's just be clear, it probably might be, I think, like 8 to 10,000.
Yeah.
And then you get a tax credit of 35%. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And within 1 year, you get the payback. This is what is happening for us. Within a
Gotcha.
year, we'll get probably paid back what the
Because
cost
of
is.
the
Because of
Maybe 2
utility.
years. Maybe 2
I was
years.
gonna say that if you get 2 years worth payback
Yeah.
from the lowering your PG&E bills,
Yeah.
that's really good. Plus, you can can't you? Well, in your case, are you locking in the rate with PG&E?
Well, it kind of banks it. So in the summer, we'll get.
No, I don't mean that. I mean how much you pay per kilowatt.
I don't know.
Okay,
We haven't even gotten that. I wasn't even thinking of looking.
Okay.
But this is how far he's
Yeah.
passionate about it.
75%. Wow.
75%. Then it does increase your home value. It really does.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, sure. I mean, if you're able to sell a house that has, close to break even, or I mean,
Yeah.
your PG&E bills are really low,
Yeah.
Mhm.
then that's going to help quite a bit. So, yeah.
Do you generally know what effect percentage-wise it could have on a home's value?
So you know what they say, the solar people that I've been meeting with, like 2.5 times, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. It just doesn't.
I mean, like if the system costs
$35,000.
35,000, it's
It's
those
close to
Oh,
100 or it's 80 or something. No, but I mean, I think it kind of a little bit depends on the more expensive houses,
Sure.
probably.
it all
Yeah.
depends on how much you can get those PG&E bills down.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so another 80,000 in a $3 million house, if it might make that little edge on why you'd buy that one or another one
Right.
versus
right.
another. But in a $500,000 house, it's okay. Well, I'm not paying for your solar.
Yeah.
You know?
I know we're going to get into Zillow later, but does Zillow reflect if a house has solar on it
No.
in the pricing?
Probably
Zillow
not.
is a computer, and Zillow doesn't know
Yeah.
anything.
Okay.
I won't be that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, because we do have a question about.
We'll get to Zillow.
We do have a Zillow question. So, audience, stay with us because you're going to want to hear about the Zillow question again. Where it talks about other sites too. This email question. So it's not just Zillow. We're not picking on Zillow.
No.
Okay, so here's our second trivia question. The image of Uncle Sam was first used in what war? So when did we first see Uncle Sam?
Oh, yeah.
Which war? And if you say the Battle of Hastings, 1066, you'd be wrong.
Yeah.
He wasn't around back then, right? Call 888-912-1190. Be the first caller with the correct answer. You'll win that tanning certificate. Again, the image of Uncle Sam was first used in which war? All right? Don't touch that dial. You're going to want to listen to the best of investing when we come right back. We're going to talk about some very interesting things about Zillow and other computer sites.
Yeah.
All right. Let me save this.
We have a lot of segments. So it's like second segment, and it's 4:21.
I know. It goes fast.
Where the segments are going faster than the actual time.
I know.
How's that
it's
possible?
warming time.
They're
Yeah.
not.
We finish it and it'll be like,
That reminds me. I had a
4:20.
secretary one time. She was showing up late for work, and I said, you really kind of need to be on time. And she says, well, she says traffic is so bad. She says I've got to leave later to miss all the traffic again to get here earlier. I said,
Okay.
that's impossible. She couldn't understand why that was impossible. These secretaries, I'll tell you.
drive in reverse and
Yeah.
the clock will go backwards.
It's impossible. Oh my God, it's crazy.
I want. Okay. So can I still ask you about what would you counsel a buyer in
Yeah.
this market?
Well, I don't know.
No, we don't have to.
Well, it's always good. Okay, so if you look at it this way, every 10 years your house is going to double. You have to just get in the game. You can't
Yeah.
really time it. We could
Right.
be wrong.
Do you believe in that? Always hold on to Marin County because once you leave, you can't come back.
I kind of do. I mean, I'm thinking about selling my house in Ross, and I'm like,
When
I
you
don't
upload the
see it.
video.
I'm running all these numbers and figuring all this stuff out, and then I'm like, yeah, but the thing is, if it's worth $3 now, is it? It's going to be worth like I paid $500 for it in 1994.
Wow.
you know?
24 years, and it went up 6 times.
Mhm. But I mean, I did do a lot of, you have to
Put a lot of
factor
money
this, a
into it,
lot
yeah.
of
And the thing
into
is, you didn't pay cash for it, probably. So.
Right, well, all the more reason why you should buy real estate, leverage.
Yeah.
That's back to that. But anyway, yeah. So it's really, and I get the mortgage deduction. We all know that. So that's back to the buyer. Like, yeah,
Right.
what's your long-term goals? Do you want to be a homeowner, a proud homeowner in the school district? And, you know,
Well, that was pretty good. Okay, so 1994, you bought your house. I bought mine in Las Colinas in 1992. Paid 400 for it, but now I did sell it. But even now, it's only worth maybe $1 million too.
I know.
So yeah,
I know.
Ross.
Ross,
Location.
Would you leave the
Location.
county? Would you be part of that 28%?
I'm not leaving the county. No, 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 no.
You do too well here.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money and Patty Cohn of Pacific Union International or Pacific Union Realty. Pick your choice. Okay. The image of Uncle Sam was first used in what war?
One?
I was going to say World War II.
Yeah, I thought it was World War I. It was the War of 1812.
Oh my God.
Can you believe it? It was all the way back there. It says Sam Wilson, a meat packer who supplied rations for the American soldiers.
What
Uncle
year was
Sam.
that? No, I'm kidding.
Like, he's buried in Grant's tomb. Grant and Mrs. Grant. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so we received an email for Patty, and it says, well, it's kind of generic email, but you'd be the person to answer. How trustworthy are sites like Zillow?
Well, you know, there's a lot of how trustworthy is the data? How trustworthy is their mission? That's another thing. But the data is sometimes right on.
Yeah.
However, in the Bay Area, that's not a tract neighborhood in Iowa. It's not correct. I mean, it can be correct.
Well, yeah, if you do a lot of remodeling, how does Zillow know about it?
Well,
You know, adding on a room or where, you know, that sort of thing.
yeah, I mean, and a homeowner can go in and do all that, but,
Okay.
but a lot of them don't know it.
Yeah.
So again, you're not really sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're not consistently high and they're not consistently low. So you don't even know how to factor in their
Right.
you know, and it's ultimately it's just a computer. Okay, I get the analytics are really good, but
Yeah.
it's not healthy. I mean, because what happens is I love it when I take a listing and Zillow says blah blah and it's a lot higher. Generally, Zillow is going to be higher than reality, and that sets up false expectations for the homeowner. But I really like that because buyers are looking at it, and now my listing looks great. But I've had the opposite too, where it was really low, and people are like, yeah.
You have to do an explanation for that. But what about, you said about the mission?
Well, let me just finish one thing on Zillow.
Go ahead.
If you live in a luxury neighborhood and you're, you know, it's an $8 million house, it could easily show up on Zillow as $4 million.
Yeah.
That's where it gets goofy. You can't even start. Like, it's very hard to, anyway. But the mission of Zillow really is several things. One is, how does Zillow make their money? They charge realtors for leads. So these are leads on our products. Our products are listings.
Sure.
And we're paying for leads on our product. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's quite brilliant.
So if I'm a potential buyer and I am looking at a neighborhood, I see something, then I look to the right-hand side and I'll see a bunch of realtors, right? But I also see like the listing agent, right?
Yeah, well, sometimes and sometimes not. Because then the company has to pay a little extra to get in that preferred spot. So that's more way to make money. Like, this is not a bad thing. This is America. This is how it's working.
Yeah.
But it's very confusing because I advertised with them for a little bit of time, a couple of years, and people would call on some random listing that I really didn't know anything about, but I would look up, of course, but they were a little disappointed because they wanted the listing agent. So there's expectation you're getting a listing agent, but I'm paying for that lead, and it's going to several people, and it's just the whole lead generation thing.
And aren't they getting into the business actually of real estate?
They are. They're going out and doing Zillow offers, which is purchasing a home. But I don't know enough about it in terms of whether or not they're engaging a local realtor to be involved in the transaction. because they're not a brokerage in the sense that they have real estate agents working for them.
I mean, I've liked
Um,
Zillow from the standpoint of research when, I'm trying to look at a deal. And,
Yeah.
and, just,
I mean,
it seems to me it's a little easier to look at it than some of the other
Oh, yeah.
sites.
You can
It's-
get what they paid,
Right.
when they paid,
Yeah,
how
tax
big-
records, stuff, yeah.
correct square footage, at least correct from the tax records.
Yeah,
It's really good site. So they're really good at getting people there,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then charging the realtors for their own leads. But we have to do better. That gets us to Compass. That is Compass's mission.
Okay, tell us about Compass, because we haven't mentioned that on the air. We were talking
Right.
Yeah.
Pacific Union
Yeah,
International
yeah.
Realty.
So Compass's mission is to be in the top 20% in the top 20 markets by 2020.
And Compass bought out.
Compass bought Pacific Union,
Okay.
which had 18% in the Bay Area, and Compass already was there with about 2%, like
Mhm.
whatever, little bits. And they're doing it in major mearkets. Now, why that mission? What's actually the millennial guy that started Compass and has huge funding. Just look it up. I mean,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
Billion.
billions,
Yeah.
a lot of funding. His mom was a realtor, and she kind of looked at all this and what was happening, and so the idea is to sort of nudge out Zillow
Hmm.
from
Sure.
us paying to get back our own leads. So if we have 20% in that marketplace and we have better technology, then we're going to be the go-to for
Sure.
consumers.
Wow.
And then we'll get bigger market share because we're the go-to, we own the market, blah, blah, blah.
Did they buy out Keller Williams?
No.
Okay, so because I know I was on an email list for a broker for Keller Williams, and he really liked Keller Williams. He kept touting it, and then suddenly I start getting an email, and it says Compass.
Right.
So he changed then.
You can, I mean, as an agent, you can join any real estate company you want, or if you own a franchise under a brand and your franchise comes up for renewal, you can rebrand as
Maybe
another
that's it.
company. So
Okay, but it's not that Compass bought out Keller
Yeah.
Williams. So this guy
No.
basically changed brokers.
Maybe.
Essentially.
Brokerage.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So
Isn't it? But yeah, I mean, that concept, at first the concept really, I didn't get it, but I'm
Mhm.
really getting the concept. So that's why I'm happy about Compass.
Oh, okay.
Because it will probably change. And people also go to Redfin.
Yeah.
But
Right.
they don't use Redfin agents. Redfin's a whole different story.
Yeah,
So
I didn't really care for that, and Trulia drives me a little bit crazy too. Both of those do.
Trulia is owned by
owned
Zillow.
by Zillow. They
Yeah.
bought it about 5 years.
For some
ago.
reason, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why they still have it that way.
Yeah.
But watch Compass. Watch what Compass does next. That's our advertising thing for the last few months. Watch what we do next.
Okay.
Right.
So suddenly people will go on to Compass like they go on to Zillow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It wouldn't be suddenly. It's going to be shit,
Boom.
shit,
Yeah.
shit until we
Lots of-
own the market.
Gotcha. Wow.
You know,
Maybe you have to buy Zillow out, or they'll buy you out, or well.
you know, there's so much change going on and so many acquisitions, so much money being poured into real estate, but none of what we touched on goes against the fact that at the end of the day, the realtors are still very much integral
Needed,
part of the
yeah.
transaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for the
Well, yes. I mean, because I got in the business in 1989 when there was still real estate books. It wasn't even online.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it just changed, and you have to go into your office and log in and all that. So, as soon as if data got out there, it'd be like, oh, they're not going to need, and this is, I don't know, early 90s. They're not going to need realtors anymore. Well, they do.
yeah.
And as soon as all the background data, like which you can find on Zillow, is out there, won't need realtors anymore, need realtors more than ever.
Yeah.
But I think part of back to the Zillow mission, I think the long-term vision is you have salespeople
Mhm.
that go show the house, and they could be licensed, and you've got people that write up the deal, and you've got people that do the paperwork, and you've got people, but you
Sure.
still need people in the deal.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
will we still be getting 5 and 6%? I don't know.
Right.
But
But also that, just from a legal standpoint, we're also sue happy people that's another really important reason to have a realtor involved. And then, as we've said before, anybody doing a FSBO, as they say, for sale by owner, is going to find that an astute buyer is going to say, oh, well, you're not paying the commission. I'm going to lower the price anyway. So you might as well pay the commission.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've got a trained professional, and the buyers, that buyer's agent might have an agent. So as a FSBO, you've got a trained professional that you're paying to negotiate against you.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Okay, we're going to cut to another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to ask Nam about why rates on deeds of trust are coming down in California. Well, I thought interest rates are going up in the market. I don't understand this commercial. I don't
Crazy
understand
times.
this email. Okay, so here is our third trivia question. Okay, you got to be a history buff for this one. Which Cuban president was overthrown by Fidel Castro in 1959? So there was,
I don't remember. I know who that
because
was.
he did like a coup or something like that, right? A Cuban.
very
Okay, so
good.
which Cuban president? Just came up with that. That's pretty good, Edward. Which Cuban president was overthrown by Fidel Castro? And I'll give you a hint. He's got a Cuban name. Does that help?
Yeah. Not
Mark-
Smith.
Not Smith. Yeah, it was not Joan Smith. All right, that happened in 1959. Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you're going to win that tanning certificate, which again is transferable. So that's a good thing to do. All right, don't touch that down. When we come back, we're going to talk to Nam Pham about what's going on in mortgage interest rate, or not mortgage, but deeds of trust interest rates. Don't touch that down.
Good. Yeah, I remember that Cuban thing. I can't remember. These are getting better, those your questions.
Thank you.
They're getting easier for me anyway.
Not me.
Well, sports. No thanks.
Next time we're going to have just sports for you.
I know.
I don't know if we'll have time for this, but do you hear any conversations about climate change in people's buying, like
Like I don't want to buy
Stinson
near a
Beach
coast,
or
yeah.
the flats of
Oh,
Paradise or something like that?
Some
Or
people.
Corte Madera? Like, I just have to
Floods them.
imagine that at some point there's people, the perception will be that if I buy this house and I plan to be here for 20 years, it's going to get flooded at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at it, and at some point,
Yeah, I get this. It
the
happens.
perception is going to drive pricing.
I would think.
Right now they have to say if it's a flood zone.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I mean, my
but-
sister, who's a teacher, and her husband, a fireman, are very conservative. They're not flamboyant. They have their house for 30 years. They just bought in a second home. It's a big deal for them in North Carolina. They live in Virginia,
Mhm.
and they've always wanted it. And they couldn't go look at it because it was a hurricane at that moment. But they bought the house.
in hurricane
In
area,
that,
like
just
Yeah.
Wilmington. or
all of it was
something?
hurricane. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I remember I'm from the East Coast, so I remember thinking about going to California, and I thought, well, no, I don't think
Earthquakes.
I'll never go there because I'll be killed in an earthquake. It's just, you just don't know. And,
Right.
and I thought it was always just gloomy
Yeah.
weather like San Francisco. So why would anyone live there? It's like, hello. Yeah, it's
Yes.
laughable. But this is the perception.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, why would we go to Kansas, tornado, or why would we go there? So I think people just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's why they have storm windows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yes.
All right, ready? So we're going to move on to you with the question and then the.
We can do a deal of the week. or
Deal of the
something
week,
like
yeah.
that, Sure.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Pham and Patty Cohen. Third trivia question: which Cuban president was overthrown by Fidel Castro in 1959? Fulgencio Batista.
Oh,
You've heard
Batista.
Batista. You've heard
Yeah.
that name.
Fulgencio Batista. That's my answer.
Excellent.
You didn't
Very
even- I didn't
good.
get a chance to say anything.
Oh, I'm
Just
sorry. I
kidding.
cut you off too fast. We'll give you credit for that one. Okay, so Norman, the email comes in and says, why are rates on deeds of trust coming down in California?
They've been going down for a while. Deeds of trust. And, well, I suppose too, though. Let me qualify it a little bit. Depends on the type of transaction, type of deed of trust. But generally, we've seen some yield compression. And that's a good thing for borrowers on private money, because they've been able to get rates somewhere in the 9s and now even 8s today, or in the last year or so, compared to 4 or 5 years ago when it would easily have been somewhere in the high 9s, 10s, 11s. And part of that is because there's so many good opportunities for investors to earn, strong yields in California, just because, California's real estate market's so vibrant. So a lot of capital.
There just seems a lot of capital chasing all these
so
deals.
a lot of supply of capital
Capital, yeah.
coming into the marketplace, going after good, solid real estate transactions.
Competition.
Competition driving down rates.
Wow.
So we've seen that for a while now, and we've seen borrowers demanding better rates from us. And some of those we've just chosen not to do. Some of the fix and flip in particular.
Yeah.
So trust deed opportunities in the fix and flip space have probably seen the most yield compression. Where we don't see it as much is on the owner-occupied consumer private money loans that we specialize in.
And what's the reason? Is it speed?
Just competition for that type of loan product among private lenders is lower, just because there's more rigor that you have to go through as a private lender to be able to make those kinds of loans, from a compliance standpoint, from a legal standpoint, just from a knowledge base. Most private lenders don't want to touch that. They don't have the resources. We do, so we can command higher rates.
Okay, that's a good reason. So tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Pacific Private Money. What you guys do, but tease the audience now with a little deal of the week, and then we'll backfill it with the information of what you do.
Yeah. So this deal of the week we recently closed. I think it was last week. Borrower came to us. Their home was on the market. It was actually in contract, and they wanted opportunistic deal. It's not a property they lived in. It was a investment property. It's like a 4-unit apartment that they were selling, and they found an opportunity to purchase a business. They go to a bank and say, "Can I get a loan on this property that's listed? I own it free and clear. I need $350,000 because I want to buy the property." And the bank says, "No, we're not going to make you the short-term loan. It's on the market, and in fact, you're in contract. You're gonna have to wait till it sells and you get the proceeds, and by that time he doesn't need it because it's gonna be all cash at that point. He'll be cash rich." But a bank's not gonna make that loan. We will.
Yeah, bank won't make it probably because they don't charge enough in points with brain damage to do it, right?
To do that. So he comes to us because he wants to jump on this opportunity, and he wants it was 50% of the value of the property. He's looking
50% loan to value.
Yeah, 50% loan to value. And so for one, bank's not going to make that kind of loan. That's where we can, and especially through our fund. I think it was one we're going to put in the Pacific Private Money Fund. It would be short term, probably get paid off in 3 or 4 months.
What did you charge?
I believe we charged somewhere in the 9s, high 9s, and that.
But that wasn't the issue. It's the points, though.
Right, 2, 3 points.
Yeah. And so in theory, if they pay you back soon, your rate of returns, 40% annualized yield or whatever.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But here's the other part too. He was in contract, and the purchasers of his property, their bank was going to decline or pull out and not make the loan because there was some termite work that needed to be done.
Okay.
So he said, "Why don't we'll just lower the price, or I'll put money aside for that. So after it closes, we'll give you the money so you can complete the work on your own."
Yeah.
But no, the bank said, "No, we want this done before we fund."
I hate that.
And so we were able to provide extra because there's plenty of equity in the property, so he could do the termite work before close. So we saved the deal on multiple levels, and that for us is just a no-brainer, common sense deal.
Yeah.
Understand that numbers wouldn't work for a conventional lender, but that's where.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you got money in the fund that's sitting around doing nothing,
right?
Waiting for a loan, 9% is good, and even though it's short term, the thing is because you get points.
We get points.
The annualized rate of return is
we get paid off in 3 or 4 months. We'll have another loan scenario to fund with that capital.
So we're telling the story. Not because we want to just say what a great company you are, but
we're private lenders.
But I mean, there's an opportunity for listeners.
Absolutely. So where that borrower is paying, 9, somewhere in the 9s, or our investors who are invested in our fund are earning, 7.5% to 8%, because we get our capital source are accredited investors in the Bay Area, actually nationwide, but concentration of them are here, local. Business owners, entrepreneurs, people who have accumulated some money that they're tired of earning 1% on. So they can invest in our fund. You have to be accredited, $1 million net worth, outside of your primary residence, or you can qualify on income, which is $200,000 a year as an individual. You have to show that for the last 2 years, or $300,000 as a couple. Again, you have to show it for the last 2 years. But aside from that, you can invest in our fund, minimum $50,000, and earn somewhere in the 7.5% range.
How long is the money tied up?
It's tied up. Well, we ask that you stay in our fund for a minimum of a year. Actually, it used to be longer, but we lowered it. But that floor, that 12-month floor, is a SEC requirement.
Okay.
So we ask that you stay in for a year.
And after a year, people don't want to leave. It's
No.
like, why
No.
would I?
Yeah.
And how many
I-
people want to invest for less than a year? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll tell people who
Well, it's kind of a test, I'll test you out for 90 days, but I've
yeah,
invested,
yeah.
it's so worth it. You do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and our average investor reinvests. Our typical investor
Yeah.
reinvests and invests much more than the minimum. So
Fees?
fees, no fees going in or out.
Okay.
So meaning that if you invest, we don't charge you a fee, to take in your funds. And if you're beyond a year, if you hold your investment for longer than a year, there's no fee going out. If you take it out before a year, there's a redemption fee of 3%.
Okay.
But again, we've had maybe one person who's redeemed within a year, even that. But if somebody says I need it after 6 months, or before they're investing, they say, I might need it in 6 months. We'll just say, you know what, you shouldn't invest.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find
That's fair
someone
enough.
else.
So is it need like 30-day notice or anything like that?
Typically, we ask for 2 to 6 weeks,
Mhm.
but I think the average has been about 2 weeks to redeem. Or if somebody, this is a nice thing about Mark, our fund manager, is somebody comes to him October 10th, says, I'd like to make a redemption request. I've been in for 3 years and I want to take out 50,000. He'll say, you know what, if you wait until November 1st, then you'll earn all of October's interest, because we don't do partial month calculation, which is nice. I mean, we don't have to do that. If somebody
Yeah.
says immediately, on October 10th, that they want to redeem, we have the right to just redeem them.
Yeah.
But, out of courtesy, hey, stay in for the full month and you'll earn that
It's
month's
a
interest.
choice, at least they have the option of not losing that first 10 days worth of interest.
Right.
Yeah.
On the,
So if you're interested in investing, give us a call at 415-883-2150, or you can find out more about the fund at pacificprivatemoney.com. That's pacificprivatemoney.com. We hold fund information sessions periodically. We probably won't have another one until beginning of the year, but do stay tuned though, because we will be announcing the next fund event.
but they could always
Sure.
call you and sit down with
Absolutely.
you one-on-one.
Yeah, we always do. You know what? We prefer one-on-one, just because we want to answer each person's questions, and
Yeah,
they're
like
always
how
unique
risky
to-
is it?
Right.
How can I, how can I lose money?
Yeah, and oftentimes they want to visit with us, whether we visit them or they come to our office. Happy to do both. So
So you don't run this out of a station wagon?
yeah,
You have a real office?
we're moving.
Yeah, we're on the move.
We're on the move.
Yeah.
Literally. No, thanks, station.
Kids are in the backseat, dog too.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, your office used to be a bank building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be Sonoma Bank, I think,
Yeah.
in Nevada's. This cracks me up. Nevada's financial district.
Yeah, I
Yes,
know,
it's like,
I
it's
know.
like one big block. Okay. All right. Don't touch that dial. When the Best Investing comes back, we're going to have some closing comments.
And the financial district is like a title company, a realtor,
Yeah.
Is it even one stoplight? Yeah, there's 2 stoplights between
Yeah.
a Grant,
I love it.
Wells Fargo, B of A, and Pacific Private Money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, I mean, not that I totally remember, but back in the day, people would just, know their banker, and they knew each other, and you'd go in and ask for money and they'd give it to you. And I was literally talking to one of my friend's moms who wants to move here. And I asked her a little bit about financing, and she's like, well, I mean, she's probably buying a $500,000 condo. And she's like, well, I'll have to sell my house first. So I'd explain to her, because it's probably been 40 years, that, you know what, you're going to be competing with people with cash, 10-day close. So maybe you can get a line of credit on your house. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to explain line of credit. But the bottom line is, she said, I've been banking there a really long time. I'll just go there and I'll walk in and they'll give me the money. And I was like, because I felt like everything, when you feel like everything you're saying is like a kind of a no.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why don't you try that?
And what did she say?
Well, she's going to try it.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if she tried it or not. I don't know how motivated she is, but it's like, I was like, well, you could do that if you know them. Try that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
no,
not too far off in the
does
future
not work that way.
where you walk in and be like, they don't have people there anymore.
Right.
I talked to a robot.
Right. She was very nice, though.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I smiled.
What do we want to cover in these last this last segment? It's only 5 minutes. 4 minutes,
More
really.
Real estate stuff.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Winter is a good time to buy in the winter. It always is.
Do you mind ask you if I'm a buyer?
Oh, yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. Here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Phan and Patty Cohen of Pacific Private Money, Patty Cohen of Pacific Union Realty. We already asked our trivia question, so Nam, you have questions?
Yeah. So earlier, one of the earlier segments, I was asking, in this market, if Edward was the seller, what would you say to him?
As a seller?
Oh, and we answered that. But as a buyer, if I were the buyer,
Right.
In this market, this transitional market, what would you say to me?
Well, I would ask a lot of questions like, what's your goal? I mean, are you fix and flip? Don't do it. Because I mean, a lot of times with fix and flip, you're just planning on riding the market anyway.
Right.
But so it's not a market you want to ride like that. But are you, you have a couple of kids and you want to get into that school district, and that's that house that you've been looking for 20 years, that perfect house, walking distance to school and Shady Lane and Ross, and you're going to be there for next 30 years to buy that house. You know, I mean, so again, like anytime you're thinking about refinancing or doing anything, like how long do you plan to be in the house? What are your goals? How unique is this property? Right now, I would say buy, because
well, that's a good point.
Winter.
It's like the house we live in now. It's like we bought it at the top of the market in 2006. Now, I didn't know it was the top of the market at the time, but we felt like it was a special house that we would live in for quite a while. And it's like, even though I didn't get exactly the price I wanted, you know, I looked at it and said, you know what, though, I like the house. It's got good bones. It's okay. I overpaid a little bit.
Yeah, that's because I was on the other side.
That's true.
Was it? Really?
She convinced me.
That's funny.
It was my list.
That's great. So if I'm a buyer and I see that the prices are starting to flatten, and I go, you know what, I'm gonna underbid by 15%. Then what do you say? Like, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing some of that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're seeing like this is when the market changes. Like a friend of mine I was just talking to, she's representing a buyer, and the seller went out of town for 10 days and wouldn't even respond to the offer. And when they came back after 10 days, she said, we really need to get going and give them the offer. Like they might not wait another couple of days. The seller just backed out and said, I feel like I was threatened. So sellers are threatened. Well, she's like, it is a threat. Like they're not going to wait another 10 days. They need an answer.
Oh.
So that is a seller doing it. But pretty soon, like I remember the days where buyers would make an offer and, you know, like 3 days later, they'll be like, yeah, I guess I'll throw another number at them. You know, but sellers, you know, we're at the top of the market maybe or not, but sometimes sellers are just, it's all about motivation.
Right.
But
we had that in our neighborhood where this couple they put their house on the market and apparently they got a full price cash offer and they just said, no, I guess we just want to think about it.
Because it was too easy. That's what their mindset is.
Yeah.
If I wait, I'm going to get it in all cash plus.
Or and the thing is, it was overpriced to begin with.
And they're not experienced, maybe didn't have a strong enough realtor, you know, but it's the old, I wouldn't want to belong to a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, they're taking it. I must have offered too little, but that's like the whole point about a deal. Like a deal is a miracle because both sides are actually happy.
Or both sides are unhappy. You know,
well, that's also good.
Yeah.
Because everybody's winning somehow in some twisted way. So yeah, I think that's, you know, winter's a good time to buy.
Yeah.
You know, and so what's the answer? I don't know. I mean, if we're in a flat market for the next few years, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're going in there to speculate on California real estate and turn it over, no.
Right.
If you think you might get relocated in 2 years, probably don't do it.
Right.
But if you want to buy a nice rental property, keep it for a couple of decades, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong. Every 10 years, your property doubles in Marin County.
That's 7%.
That's
7.2%.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us both.
Thank you for having us.
On the Best of Investing. We're going to go to our thoughts for the day. A positive attitude may not solve all of your problems, but it annoys enough people to make it worthwhile. And everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself.
That's right.
Isn't that true? Would you change yourself, Noam?
I'll look in the mirror.
No, that's like when you point your finger to somebody else, you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. So you have to be accountable.
That's true. And 5% what happens to you, 95% of how you react to it.
That's right.
Isn't that true? I mean, like in life, just in general.
Absolutely.
And here we are getting philosophical on the best of investing.
Right. And what you think of me is none of my business.
There you go. And Halloween is right around the corner. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long.
Great. I was just going to say, though, I mean, is that how it's going to show up? Because Mom's not in it.
Oh, he was. He
okay.
just yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's right.
I like to be behind the scenes.
I wanted to say that earlier, and then I didn't interrupt.
Better just have this mysterious voice.
Yeah. We like, what's that show where the guy was always half over the fence?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Ed, remember that?
So are you busy these days?
Yes and no. I always can be busier.
I know. Well,
You know?
you're always busy too.
No. I mean, this has been the weirdest year. I mean, I did like in January, February, I did probably 80% of my business.
January,
February.
Amazing.
But anyway, so yeah, and I mean, then I did a lot of other deals, but they just couldn't top those big prices. So it's yes. Anyway, I just took 2 listings, one in Nevada, on Miwok. Miwok is a nice street.
Miwok.
It's off of McClay. It's
Okay.
like a sleeper.
Mhm.
It was built in '98. But
Wow.
it's just this little enclave, and it's just like McClay Road to me is one of the best ones, I think, in the
Yeah.
area. I feel like you're in the country, but it's an easy commute.
Mhm.
That's why I just finished writing the copy. So anyway, yeah.
Oh,
So are you busy? Or
nice.
like business is good?
Yeah, it's been a pretty busy. It was a quiet September. It was a crazy August. It was our biggest, craziest month ever.
Wow.
October's picked back up, and so we should be end the year strong. Q4 is always pretty good for us in December. So
It kind
Yeah, a
of
lot
makes
of
sense.
people. Yeah.
Because, and that's what I say to people, because untraditional people get loans. Like,
Mhm.
and untraditional people buy untraditional houses at untraditional times, which is the fourth quarter. So when I take a listing that's on a busy street with lots of 3 stories and whatever, and some plugginess, I'm like, put your house on now. You do not want to be pretty in March with all the, soccer moms in the
interesting.
cul-de-sac with their perfect homes. An untraditional person's going to buy your house, and untraditional people shop at untraditional times, which is now. And that's the thing with your business too. It's untraditional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
It
why
is
they call it
very much.
traditional financing. The other thing is.
That's
Anyway,
non-traditional.
Thank
good to see you always.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yes, thanks, Edward. I
Patty.
soon enough. Anyway, bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm
Bye.
gonna head out too soon.
Okay.
So you'll be at the office tomorrow?
Yes. Early.
Early. Get her done. Get over there.
So, let's see here. VOI October 27 and promo November 3, 2018. Yeah, again, I have to send these twice because those Wascals, they only let you send 3 at a time for some reason.
What the heck? Oh yeah, that's right.
And we have to wait 50, so I'm just gonna have to be here by myself looking at this thing. Hello.
How much time is left?
4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah.
Hang on for
All
2
right.
more
Well,
minutes.
Appreciates that. Appreciates that. Now.
Let's see.
Okay, so I did that. Put this one okay. Oh, so get this. Eva called me and says there's a lady friend of hers who kind of does big deals. I don't know why. For some reason she needs like an assistance for something. I don't know exactly what, but apparently they just closed a fund for $11 billion. So I gotta find out what that's all about. I don't know what she needs from me, but
Acquaintance?
yeah, my wife and Eva went to go see the husband for some work on her body type thing, like a massage type thing, and then got to know the lady. And apparently, she was very, very helpful for some stuff, and so they struck a conversation, and then Eva said, "Oh, my husband might be able to help you with something." So
Wow.
I'm supposed to call the lady at 6 o'clock. We'll see what happens. Can we use an extra $1 billion?
Just, yes. Yeah. Short answer.
Gee, that'll take us more than a month to redeploy.
God, it's right in it.
Yeah, start looking at some really big deals.
Just imagine when we have near unlimited source of capital. How much damage we could do. Seriously, just
Well-
if it were at the right.
Gotta have the right deals.
right?
right? I want to do.
No,
just
but in
due
terms
diligence,
of being able to market more to the rest of the state,
oh, that's true.
but also, I mean, the cost of capital, obviously.
Yeah.
We had a, favorable cost of capital, and we can go after more of the consumer owner occ space. That would be pretty incredible.
I wonder what this whole FICO thing, if that's going to affect.
Yeah, I need to read about it. I'm curious. Well, I saw that too, and I started reading it, then something got pulled away. But I want to understand that too. I can't imagine. I mean, how? I guess the question is though, is how much is the current FICO measurement system really that off base with evaluating whether a borrower really is?
You know, I don't know. Are they just automatically going to increase it just because?
Yeah, I mean, and how's that?
I
So
don't
are
know.
they just doing that so
I
that
don't
more
know the
people
answer.
qualify? Are they underqualifying
I mean,
people because?
Well, that's the
it's
thing is that
too
people getting so upset with FICO because my FICO score should be higher. In fact, my FICO score, I told you I did some stuff with the house
Yeah.
and just it dropped like crazy, and then it just went way back up. In 1 month, it went from 769 to 803. Works for me.
There's different, and then I'm reading about different ways of looking at people's credit worthiness based on their social media, and they look at their social media accounts. And
Like, are
certain
you posting all
behaviors
kinds of weird stuff?
Yeah, I mean, they can see the obvious stuff like on LinkedIn where you work and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but then they also look at your Facebook profile, or they
Wow.
can pull that and extrapolate your level of responsibility and even your
Like having tattoos
education
or something.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if they pick that up, but I'm sure that
It's
would
called
be
profiling, which I guess is
yeah,
okay.
it really is.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean,
It's
all it
just
is
yeah,
profiling.
Yeah.
But
That's what it is.
using other things other than numbers.
Yeah.
So
We're going to check out. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay. So,